Hi, Tommy. Welcome to Linear Rock.
Hi, Barbara. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
It's great to have you. Such an honor. As I said, Camelot, the American pioneers of symphonic power metal, are finally back. Yeah. So the new album, The Awakening, is coming on March 17th and on Napalm Records. And it took quite a long time this time. 5 years since The Shadow Theory, which came in 2018. And the new release was even postponed twice, if I'm correct. So why did it take so long this time?
Well, we came out of a touring cycle right before COVID hit. And then COVID hit, and we were supposed to work on the album, which we started doing right away. And we already had some material, and it's going great. Of course, COVID, kept just lingering, and there was no real possibility or need to put out an album because you couldn't tour on it. You gotta, there was no real need for us to do that. So we just took our time then and worked as much as we could, hard as we could, to make the absolute best album that we could, bring to the world. And it took 5 years, but really it took 3 years because, COVID and everything. We're not going to talk too much about COVID because it's a little bit depressing, but we're over it. We want to be, out in the world doing our stuff now once the album is out. And we're super excited that it's finally out.
Yeah, but they say that crisis breeds progress. And sometimes, after that, there's just, the heights. How much this record evolved, during this long genesis, this long process, or it was, simply finished and it remained, in a sense, frozen in the can, waiting to come out?
No, it wasn't frozen. We worked until the last day. That's just what seems to happen. You have a deadline, and that's usually when it's done. It's never, at least in my humble opinion, that's what happens. If you have a deadline, that's when it's finished. It's really, at least looking into our camp and the way we do things, we've never had anything done way ahead of time, but that was cool. I mean, you work and you reevaluate, you exchange things. And I think, I can speak for everyone in the band saying that we're really proud of this release because it really, we took some time into really making sure it's perfect for what we wanted to say. And you can do that when you have time. It's not, the luxury is not nowadays to have a lot of time. So something happened in the world. We got to sit down and take a breath and, reflect on who we were as a band and who we were as individuals and what we wanted to be when the world opened up, right?
Yeah. And is it correct that you had around 30 new songs to select the final track list?
I wouldn't say it was 30, but at least not finished songs. We had a lot of ideas, maybe 30 ideas, but it's different to say that that's the song. An idea can be an intro, or it can be a mood or a style. So we had a lot to choose from, but in the end, you pick up the pieces that you're really inspired by, and then you work those out to be a song. So in a sense, yes, but not full songs.
Okay. The Awakening sounds like a film score to me in its, variety and intensity. What keeps, Kamelot modern and still one of the most innovative bands in metal, in your opinion? You also confessed that you have very diverse influences within the band, a wide range that, starts from Stevie Wonder and goes to Iron Maiden. So that's maybe why, because there's a lot of variety. But tell us more about it.
I think so. I mean, Camelot has been a strong brand since 2 decades. And I think the important thing to think about is to also, bring the legacy with you as a spine for the band, but then not be afraid of trying to evolve or like incorporating those elements that you now think are, you really like as individuals, and try to bring it into the band, but still keep that spine of the melodicness and the moodiness and those kinds of themes that always been Camelot, but then dress it up in a new suit, if you will, like a 2023 suit, right?
Yeah,
so it's, and I think that's what we did with the new album. I think we took we brought back some more of the melodicness from the old hymn kind of songs, and then we had in our mind, we wanted to really capture the live element. Like, we have played so many shows, and we felt like we wanted to, we know kind of what translates live to people and to the experience live for us and for the people. So every new song, I think, has that live element to where it can be really played live and enjoyed live as a song, bringing people energy. So I think, that being said, I think, just staying true to your heart is the most important thing, to shape your sound, because you're not the same person today as you were 20 years ago. You've evolved a lot as a person, and that also has to reflect in your music.
Do you work more as individuals or as a band during the making, writing process?
This time around was a little bit different. We didn't have time to meet up, or we couldn't meet up because of the lockdowns in the world. It was hard to travel. Otherwise, we usually go in smaller constellations. Me and Oliver and Thomas, me and Sasha, and we couldn't do that this time. We only had the opportunity of working at home and sending ideas via the internet. So it's different ways of looking at it and different ways of thinking, creating music. But this time, that's what happened, and we're really proud of what the album sounds like.
The themes, dark, but always with hope, such as, that gothic, also theatric taste that you always had, never been only details for Camelot, the theatrics and the themes. Do you agree with that? And is it still like that, or do you perceive it in a different way with the new suit that you're talking about?
No. When I'm referring to the new suit, I'm thinking sound quality, some arrangements maybe, but yes, very much so. The theatrical part has always and is always going to be a big part of the Camelot sound and visuals, because it's just, that's what it that was what it came out of. And now we're just taking on that, and we're building on that for the future, incorporating even more theatrical stuff in our show, and just making it, more of an experience seeing us live. So I think it's just going into that direction even more.
And do the team come from the theatric part, or in either way?
It could be both, probably, but it just the music of Camelot and the themes of Camelot always have invited theatrics, I think.
Okay. You've been Camelot frontman since 10 years now. What got you the job? Did you ever discuss it with the other guys in the band? And what is the added value, the plus that you brought in the Camelot picture?
Ooh, it's a hard question to answer, but especially what I bring. But I think I bring. I was always conscious, trying to stay true to the legacy of the band as much as possible, making the legacy still feel, like making that justice, but still bringing something new to the table. Maybe a more optimistic, playing live, I think we're now a live band that gives a lot of energy to the crowd, for example, where it's a lot of crowd participation. It's a lot of, that's what the whole thing is about now. And I'm not sure how it was before I joined, but I think I've seen comments about people saying that it's now more interactive maybe, and inclusive, and you feel like you get something from the band when you go and see them live. And I think that's really important, because I want to make sure it's we give emotion to people to bring and take home with them and say, that was really cool. I felt seen. I felt a part of this, right? Some more pop there. A little bit more pop.
Okay. And how has your commitment, your engagement and participation to the band evolved through the years? Or you've been active since day one?
Yeah, I started basically day one writing lyrics and melodies, vocal melodies, and that was a big part. Roy was doing that before me, and I think part of what got me the job, to answer your last question a little bit more, was that I can write my own parts, and I remember what the thing that actually got me the job, I think, was everyone that was considered the singer or considered for the spot got to write and record their own vocals for Song for Jolie that ended up on the Silverthorn album. And I think that was what got me the job, like the nail in the coffin, so to speak, because apparently that was the best one that Thomas liked the most. And and it's still one of my favorite Camelot songs to this day. I think really it's a special song for me, and really love it.
And you are Swedish, actually. Did your Swedish attitude ever conflict with the band's American nature? Did you ever feel like that on any record or in any moment during these 10 years?
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty, lucky. I think there's not, for example, Thomas is not the typical American, I don't think, either. So I think, and he's used to working with Scandinavian people. And so I think, no, it's not really been an issue at all. It's been, anything, you always have to learn the cultural differences and kind of be aware that, how a person works. It's more like person to person than culture, in countries, between countries, I think.
Yeah. Camelot has been working with Sasha Paeth as a producer since 1999. How can you explain why he is so essential to the band, and also why and how you always support him as co-producers?
Yeah, I mean, he's been a crucial part of the Camelot sound for 2 decades, and I think it is 2 decades. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
for a long time, way before I was in the band, and he's always been considered a sixth member, like you said, kind of. He's just, he's the funnel through everything. Everything funnels through him in the end, and he has that objective mind that can just step back a couple of steps and see if this is really, something that's, is this a good idea or not a good idea, or is this sounding like Camelot, or how. But he's also very much a part of evolving the sound of the band. So it's good to have someone that is objectively can stand behind and look and see what it actually is, because it's hard when you're in it and you're on your knees on the floor writing lyrics or something like that. It's you're in it. You're too much in it. Yeah. So it's good to have someone on the outside. But I think he's doing. He's continuing being that person for us.
Which is the best tip that he gave to you, as a singer and as a writer, maybe?
I remember in the beginning. There's a few things that he has said that I've always carried with me since. And one thing was, if you're going to record a demo, make sure you have the right lyrics. because the demo usually has magic, and if it has magic, you can use it. It's not so much about, the gear you're using. It's more about the performance. So I remember recording some of the stuff for Silverthorn, just demo. It's the demo stuff that we were able to use because, and it had nothing. I wasn't in the vocal booth or anything. I just was singing into basically a broken, banged up SM57 mic into the room where this music was blasting, but we could be able to use it because it was the right lyrics and the right mood, and he could somehow extract that and put it on the album, which is really, really cool. Another thing that he is, said to me is it's the imperfections that make it emotional and perfect. It's not the perfect vocal. It's the stuff that it's not perfect that shows you that you're a human.
It's his work to make it perfect.
Yes.
Right after, okay. There has been some very cool collaborations this time with Melissa Bonny of Ad Infinitum, Tina Guo, and Florian Janoske. I hope I pronounce it correctly. Tell us more about, these collaborations, how, you got in touch with them and why.
Yeah, I mean, Tina, starting with her, it's been, I think, a long time coming. I think Thomas has wanted to work with her for a long time. He's been a fan of, and I've been a fan of her stuff too. I mean, all her, Hans Zimmer stuff is amazing. That, she played on the last Dune and soundtrack, and, it's very cool. And that it finally came together was really cool. And I think she brings that kind of theatrical, dark element, in her playing and in her persona that fits Camelot really well. And she's on 2 tracks. She's on the ballad Midsummer's Eve, and she's on Opus of the Night. And on Opus of the Night, she's playing actually the electric cello, which is really cool, that she's known for. And then we have Melissa, and also Thomas is usually, he keeps in, up to date with all the artists and stuff out there. And I'm not very up to date, I have to confess. So he's doing a really good job just spotting out like who he thinks can fit the band, and Melissa's also on the list, up and coming artists that are, just talented and sweet people. And so really, Thomas is to credit for the choice of the guests, and I think he did a really fabulous job. Florian, I think it was through Sasha. I think he knew Florian, and he had worked with him on a different project, and he just came in and laid down the most beautiful violin tracks on Midsummer's Eve.
The Awakening will be available in different formats, of course, digital and CD, but there's also the wooden box, the gatefold vinyl in 3 colors, which is marble white, black, of course, and splatter red. And there's also the limited edition cassette, just 100 pieces, actually. Which one will you keep in your collection? And do you use, to collect Camelot stuff at home?
Yeah, I do. I think at least I have 1 or 2 items of each release. But I would like to have the wooden box, because I've had the wooden box, the last 2 releases at least, and those are always beautiful pieces of art. But I would like a vinyl. I would like to at some point put up all the vinyls of the stuff I've been working on in the studio. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. Do you still serve as a firefighter now and then, as a volunteer maybe? And isn't it interesting, as you said before, that Camelot shows are very intense, that you actually used to set the crowds on fire, but you worked as a firefighter. So that's very particular, special.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, I mean, I don't work as a firefighter anymore. I've stopped. Since moving to Canada 3 years ago, I stopped doing the firefighting, but after almost 20 years. So, of course, I miss it, but more so the camaraderie, not so much the putting out fires, but the camaraderie and the teamwork and all that stuff. But yeah, it is funny that I love pyros more than anything. When we have pyros in the shows, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Do you used to actually control the pyros, maybe because of your previous job?
No, I actually screwed it up a couple of times for the guy that did the pyros. It was so dumb. I've been looking straight into the cannon that shoots the fire, and as it was shooting in my face, so I just burned up a few hairs. But I kept on singing. I think it's on YouTube.
Okay, I'll check it out. Okay, so the Awaken the World Tour is about to start on March 12th. Do you have any anticipation that you can give to us on the new production and the new set list?
Set list is hard. I mean, it's definitely going to contain a couple of new songs. The album won't be out until a week after we start the tour, so we'll see what we do about the first week. But definitely a couple of new songs for sure for everyone. And Camelots has always been a band that just, wants to push the new songs because we don't want to be a cover band of our own music in the past. We want to. There's so much cool stuff coming out, and we're really proud of it. So we want to push it and make that the staple songs too. But then, of course, the hardest thing is to see what songs are we not playing at this point. Yeah, it's like, which ones are we exchanging or trying? It's really hard. It's hard at this point, and it's getting harder with each release.
And the production?
Yeah, the production. We always try to up our game every time, so hopefully there's going to be some cool surprises and gimmicks that you guys haven't seen.
Is Italy in the map soon or next year?
I think it is. We always want to play Italy, so because they have a strong following in Italy. So I think the next leg will be hopefully in Italy. This one show. So, and I love playing. Both with Seventh Wonder and Camelot, we have some of our best shows and some of our best support in Italy. So for some reason, it's not in the first tour, but I think definitely in the second one.
Okay, so we can't wait to have you back. Last question for tonight. If for one special imaginary night you could go to dinner with, and you can pick just one, James LaBrie, Russel Allen, Ronnie James Dio, or Bruce Dickinson, which one would you pick, and what would you ask him, as a tip or secret to keep for yourself?
Wow, I would like to go on with all of them. Can I do that?
But you can pick just one.
Okay, the one that I would pick is the one that I probably. It's because I can't no longer, and it's impossible. It would be Ronnie James Dio, because I also heard a lot of very nice stories of how he committed himself to fans and how he was just he just gave of himself to people, and I think that's a beautiful gift, and that would be very interesting to talk to him. I think, if I couldn't talk to all of them.
Yeah, great pick. Okay, Tommy, so thanks so much for your time for this interview. So we're closing now this interview with Opus of the Night, Ghost Requiem. Do you want to introduce it for our listeners?
Yeah, I mean, this song, Opus of the Night, is the continuation of the song Ghost Opera from the Ghost Opera album. And it's a direct continuation. It's not thematical. So please enjoy it for what it is, and hope you love it.
Grazie, Tommy. See you next time. Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.